This is a journal that I wrote in whenever I was 8 years old. And one of the entries is, God made me for a special reason. God made me for a special reason. Why he made me is because he loves me. He has a special job for me when I am little and big. That job is to take care and be helpful. Ellie Lerma. And I just want to share that I did have a relationship with God whenever I was very young, but then that got lost. It got washed away and clouded in my identity. It was rooted in what I could bring to the table, in something that I could earn, in my looks, in my talents and gifts that God gave me, and it was rooted in wanting to be liked by people. And I just so deeply wanted to be loved for all of those years. Whenever I had my first relationship, that's where I thought I found it. I thought I found my whole life purpose in that relationship. I thought I finally had the reason and the purpose for life. I wasn't active in the church. I wasn't going to church. I wasn't seeking out God. I had forgot about God, but he didn't forget about me. When man's approval wasn't enough, and I was heartbroken over and over and over again by giving my mind, body, and soul to these men who didn't deserve it. Whenever the situations and the circumstances failed me and I was left alone, I went to the bottle, I went to the drink, and then the drink got me to places where other people were offering me different substances, and then my identity was placed in those substances because my reality around me was so sad. It was so sad and it was so depressing, and I couldn't live with myself anymore. I had to escape my current reality. I was sick emotionally, physically, and mentally. I was sick and I was dying slowly on the inside. My heart was so far from identity in God. My heart was so far from God and what God says about me and the person who I am and the places that he has already established my steps to walk in the direction of. But I was believing a lie. I was believing that if I measure up or if I do this, then I am worthy. If I can prove to people that I am valuable, that I am cool, that I am beautiful, then I am worthy. If I can do what the world tells me that I should do, then maybe I will be worthy and maybe I will believe it. It wasn't until I hit 5 rock bottoms where I reached out to the Lord. I reached out to God for him to save me. Shortly after that, I was in another relationship. A relationship that didn't include drugs and alcohol and all of those crazy things, but it was not a relationship from God. And whenever that relationship ended, I had had enough. I had sought what the New Age had to say about my worth and my happiness. I read every single book. I looked to the stars for answers. I looked through the signs of the universe for answers. What does Mother Earth have to say about this? What about the trees? What does the water? What do the 5 elements have to say about this? I worshipped creation rather than my creator, and it set me on a path for searching for truth, and I kept finding lie after lie after lie after lie. I was very lonely, and one day I remember God answered my prayers because I was walking down the street and I heard worship music out of the corner of my ear. I decided to follow that worship music and had a sign on there. It said life. So I looked up on my phone, life. It got me connected to a church. I started going to that church. I started learning about God, and I was hungry for this. And I had a meeting with someone who changed my life, because for the first time I sat down with a church leader, someone who was 35 years old, a man who didn't want to take anything from me. He saw me as a beautiful creation of God. He saw my value, and it didn't have anything to do with how I measured up. God accepts us in our brokenness. He wants us exactly as we are today. It's been a long journey of me following God and putting my hope and trust in him, but I just want you to know that whatever you are seeking will not be enough. It does not sustain you. It'll bring you temporary happiness, happy, sad, but it's circumstantial. It is tied up to whether you are measuring up or not, what you can bring to the table. But that's not how God's love is. That's not what seeking a relationship with God is. It's not a religion. It's not a church. It's not a group of friends. It's a one-on-one, intimate relationship and knowledge of the kingdom of heaven, and God will set you on that path. I am now put on the path where I have finally stopped living for the world and what the world has to say about me, and I 100% know my identity in Christ. And there's someone else new on the throne. So all this time I had myself and my life and all of these idols and everything that I wanted and to achieve and all my dreams and goals and destinies. And even the desire to control was on the throne. The desire to have it all, the desire to be good enough, to measure up, to make people happy. No, that has gone away. Jesus is on the throne. He is the reason for our life, for everything. And I consider all things a loss, just like Paul said in the New Testament, for the surpassing worth of the knowledge of Jesus Christ. Everything that I thought was up is down. Everything that I thought was left was right. Everything is flipped upside down, turned around. He pulled me out of the slimy pit, put me on a new firm foundation for me to stand firm on that. And the journal is true. This came true so many years later when I finally realized that my life is not in my hands. And thank God for that. Thank God that I don't have to measure up. Thank God that I don't have to score well enough on a test, even if it's a test about religion or the Bible. That's not what it's about. It's about coming to God, having a loyalty to Him, a relationship with Him, and that's where freedom is found. The price has already been paid. He already came and died on the cross, so we are not being perfected. He has already done it. He has perfected us through this new covenant, and this is available for you. You are able to walk in freedom. If you have breath in your lungs right now, God has given you another chance to say no to what the world's standards are and to say yes to the kingdom standard, which is coming in all of your brokenness and running to God. And through everything that you ever thought would make you happy, saying, no, I surrender that all, God. Wherever you want me to go, God, that's where I will be. And I know that every single room that I walk into is for a reason, because God has placed me in that room. And I have said no to all of the things that were strangling me for my entire life and in charge of my identity. But I have a new identity today. And it has set me on the path to live in God's plan for my life, which is so much better, exceeds all of my expectations that I could ever have, because I have joy, and that joy of the Lord is my strength. I want everyone here to experience the love of Jesus Christ.